Like I said, thank you to Sal's for sharing those details with us, giving us a little more insight into how they will be ranking individuals that submit resumes, those kind of things. Um, Over the course of the past 8 or so months, we've seen massive divisions in this room. We've seen people attack other people's faith. We've seen mudslinging galore. We've seen people compared to Hitler. We have seen people attacked left and right. We've gotten really focused on what divides us, and we've forgotten about what unites most of us. What unites most of us is this library. Whether that be because we believe that a library is a sanctuary of information, or that be because we believe that the library ought to be spending taxpayer funds responsibly. But the majority of those that come out to these meetings are focused in on what is most important. They have that in common. But we have gotten distracted from that so often, and we get focused on what divides us. We've become less concerned about the library. We've become more concerned about the agenda we're trying to push. At the behest of Sal's, we have consistently talked about book banning for the past 8 months, and there has not been a person who has attempted or filed a piece of paperwork to ban a book in the past 8 months, 16 months, or 24 months. No one at all. But we have spent so much time talking about political agendas and not doing the business of this library. And that is exactly why we're in this situation. We have started this process because reckless decisions were made, because people valued their agenda more than they valued the library.
Josh.
That's a problem. Excuse me, I'm talking. You'll have an opportunity to talk, I promise. I'll give you an opportunity. At the behest of Sal's, this has happened, and because of people's political agendas. I want you to hear this. This is what former President Kathleen Jones said to the Post-Star. She said, "A library is not a sideshow. The animosity between the community and the library and the divisiveness within the board of trustees is not healthy." I don't agree with the divisiveness within the board. I would like her to define that, but people can vote differently and still work together. But this is what she said on Facebook. This came to my attention just recently. "My resignation came after realizing the only way to reopen this library was to have the state step in and govern. With that, certain trustees do not have a monopoly on who they want or don't want to serve in the library. Now it is out of their hands, period. Had another trustee been appointed, that library would probably be open right now." Those are her words. So what does that say to us? That says that she valued her agenda more than she valued this library. There are people that are not getting paid today who have done work for this library. They will not get paid until this library reopens because she valued her agenda so much.
No.
This library remains closed today because she valued her agenda so much.
Speak for someone.
Because she said that either you give me the trustee that I want, or I'm going to shut it all down. And that's exactly what she did. And it's wrong. It's wrong, and the behavior is absolutely shameful. It's absolutely shameful. We don't have to guess. We don't have to say I'm wrong, because the words are right here. The evidence is right here in front of us. You can go and you can look at her own words. You can look at what she said. That has been consistently been the problem. The pathway to success for this library, the pathway for this library to reopen, is not at people having their agenda to push, to have Republican or Democrat, liberal or conservative, or any of this. The pathway to success for this library is people starting to value why they're here to begin with, the library. We just want the lights on. We want people to be able to come in. The agendas need to stop. 9 months ago, 10 months ago, 11 months ago, we were fine, weren't we? We as a community were moving forward with a library that was functioning. And we sit here today in this situation because people have valued their agenda more than they value this library. And it is absolutely shameful. We need to hold these people accountable. People were absolutely elected to these offices, and they have done this to this community. Libraries are meant to be sanctuaries of information, not hotspots of social engineering. They're meant to be places where people can come and they can get a free flow of information. They can see books of all different types where everyone is welcome. They're not meant to be places where people push their agenda and make other people isolated and not feel comfortable. And we have consistently seen that. It is shameful, the fact that I have seen people who have been instrumental in my education behave in ways that are absolutely inappropriate consistently. This is not right. We need 3 new trustees, and quite frankly, we need 3 new trustees who have their priorities straight. They say the library is more important. The library is more important than the agenda they want to push. We need 3 new trustees who say, I want this library turned back on. This is informational because you'll be able to ask questions in just a second.
Yeah, well, you need to resign.
Listen.
No, I'm not listening. I'm tired of your.
Ladies and gentlemen, we talk about book banning all the time. Why is book banning a problem? Because you want to silence a voice. Because we don't want to silence voices. And yet when I talk, because I say something you don't like, you want to silence me. Is that absurd? Is that absurd or what? Is that absolutely absurd or what? It is. It is. It's a contradiction, and we need to get a grasp on it. We need to get a grasp on that fact, because from the moment I've been elected, there have been efforts to remove me. It's a problem to remove books, but it's not a problem to remove board members. Truly today, the only pathway to success for this library is that we lay off the political agendas, and we start to say, this library matters to me. This library is important to me. That's where we need to be. Jason?
Was there not an applicant that could have prevented this?
Yes.
Reed Gardner applied for that position. You refused to let her take the job.
Give me a second.
You had no problem
let
letting
you.
your friend on.
As the last vote, when we had 2 people that had the most votes.
Is that best for the library?
So think about what you're saying. Okay, let's go with that premise for a moment. Think about what you're saying. Either Reed Gardner gets elected on the library, or we shut it down. Is that appropriate? Is that working together for the best interest of the library? That's not. Either you give us Reed Gardner, or we shut it down. That's not right. That's ridiculous. That's not right. That's not working together. I don't care. It's not working together. People are elected as individuals to work together. If someone cannot handle working together, then they ought not be on a board to begin with.
She wanted to work together. Yeah, she just wanted
You didn't give her a chance.
Who wanted to work together? Who wanted to work together?
We wanted to just serve until the election to keep the.
No one ever voted. You guys keep mentioning Reed Gardner. No one ever voted on Reed Gardner.
Because you
there was no vote.
You would not take the vote.
We could have taken the vote. I wasn't against taking a vote. I was completely okay with taking a vote.
Really?
Absolutely okay with it. I would have voted no, but I was completely okay with taking a vote.
So you yourself.
But my right as a trustee, my responsibility is to make a decision that's in the best interest of this library. And it is my opinion that Reed Gardner is not in the best interest of this library. That's my opinion. Because of her behavior in these meetings, just like your behavior in these meetings is absolutely inappropriate. Most certainly. Everyone, let's press pause for a moment. Jason's gonna get an opportunity to talk, and then we will open up the floor, and we will have a conversation together.
You need to resign.
Yes, please.
Like you did.
My only
With your horrible letter.
Because of
Go ahead and
you.
sit down.
Mostly women resign because of you, Josh. Okay,
Listen, Jason.
My only objective is to get this library open. We'll do everything we can to open it, and I want everybody to have an opportunity to talk tonight. And let's not yell at each other or raise our voices too high. Everybody should get an opportunity to talk, and we'll do that.
All right, so here's the ground rules for talking. It's gonna be very similar to how we do things in a regular meeting, because we want order and structure. We want everyone to have an opportunity to talk, not people to overtalk other people so people can't hear. We want to do this in an orderly fashion. And so, if you would like to talk, you can raise your hand. We will call on you. One person can talk at a time, and then we will offer a response. We'll answer questions. We'll do whatever we can. This is a conversation with the board. Do I have a person that would like to go first? Pete?
Yes, why do we have to depend on SALs and the Department of Education, which I don't trust either one of them? Why don't we leave it up to the citizens of Hadley,
can't.
Luzerne, Stony Creek and Day, and have an election for the next 3, board members.
Because the boys up here didn't want to do
I think it's a great idea, but the state says we cannot.
Well,
When there isn't a quorum, I completely agree with you. When there isn't a quorum though, this is the process that they go through. SALs will select individuals and then they will, they'll rank those
who are
individuals.
they to select individuals?
I completely agree with you.
They didn't even have the decency to show, to send the person up here to represent them.
Or to answer questions.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, answer
They
the
didn't want to
question.
be here.
Absolutely.
Well, you get browbeaten.
Who would like to go next? Go ahead.
According to the August 22nd minutes, which I do have here, if you want to see it, election selection of new board members recommended by library lawyer included. 1, hold a new election. 2, reach out to prior members. 3, interview interested candidates. 4, fill the position with the person who received the next number of votes. Josh, you made a motion to place that. Janet carried it, and with that, Jason was installed on the board. With the precedent recommendation from a lawyer, you moving the motion forward, and Jason being put on the board with the past elections votes, why are Jade Eddy and Robin Camerata with the next top votes on the same election not being asked to sit on the board? And Josh, and Josh, wouldn't the library possibly be open now if you had not refused to appoint a former board member, an active community member? Those individuals alone would be able to fill all open spots and get our library open quicker. Also, Josh, as of September 19th, you withdrew as VP of Finance on the website. You are still listed with this. Are you still involved in the duties? If not, who is? And also, I'd like to point out that since you have been on the board, all women have resigned from their position because of the aggressive manner that you go about.
Great.
And also, real quick.
Yep.
Please we all know I'm related to Ms. Jones. Please do not put words in your mouth. Please do not say, oh, this is what she said, she's not here to defend herself, so it's not needed.
She doesn't need to be. She said it. She said it publicly. We have word for word what she said. We- Let me, okay, hold on. This is a conversation with the board. We want people to talk with the board. So, I'll answer some of those. You'll have to help me out because there was a lot there. So, number one, it was that we had a precedent set, and Jason, you hop in whenever you want. I don't want to monopolize any time. We had a precedent set that, Jason would be selected because of the fact that, that he received the next highest votes.
Yep.
So, a couple of things with that.
And I had that meeting ready.
Right, thank you for that. Thank you. That's on the website, if anyone wants to see it. The reason why we didn't is because the president didn't bring it forward for a vote. The current president at that time, Kathleen Jones, did not call for a vote to
She
vote
was
on
never president. She
any
never
of
got
these candidates.
sworn in.
She did become the president as soon as
In
Janet
that
Silverman.
article you quoted earlier. she
As
was
soon
never
as
sworn
Janet
in.
Silverman's resignation was official, she became the president of the board.
Never-
As soon as it was official, she became the president of the board. She never called for an emergency meeting and she never called for a vote on those things. So
With
we
the
never
meeting
got
with
to
the
vote on
lawyer,
those things.
With the meeting with the lawyer, you would not do Jade and Robin, and you would not also add Reed Gardner.
Now,
With the meeting, you had a
I
lawyer.
told you I told you how I would vote for Reed Gardner. I've not told you how I would vote for the other two. I never had the opportunity to vote.
Last meeting brought up as well, and it's never even, no one's even reached out. Has anyone reached out to you? No one's reached out to her,
So-
no one's reached out to Robin.
That's a great question.
And they're the next vote, so technically, if you
Exactly,
wanna do it, how you do
right.
with
So,
Jason.
hold on, we're having a conversation here. The president of the board is the spokesperson for the board, so it's inappropriate for Jason or I, not as president, to reach out to either of those candidates. It would have been Kathleen Jones that would have had to reach out to both of them. She did not.
And again, you wanna keep saying president, again.
So is the president who reached out to Jason, or did you do that?
I did not reach out to Jason.
Jason, who reached out to you?
No one reached out to Jason.
It was done in the meeting.
Yeah.
Done in the meeting?
Yes. No one reached out to me.
And, she wasn't president. In the article you already quoted, it even said she wasn't president yet because she wasn't sworn in.
It doesn't matter if she's sworn in. She was the vice
It
president.
does matter.
She automatically takes that position. What,
You can't do anything.
what happens when a president resigns, the vice president, okay, that is neither here nor there. What was your other things? I wanna make sure I'm answering your questions.
The Reed Gardner, VP of Finance, you resigned from
There's no
that.
VP of finance currently.
Who's taking over these roles then?
No
Who's
one.
taking care of the?
At this moment,
All the
no one.
roles will have to be reissued once there's a quorum again. So right now, there's there's nobody in charge of anything. We have to have the quorum. We have to wait for the 3 people that the state of regents will appoint. And then through those people in front of everybody here, those will get divvied out.
What else did you got? What did you have?
That was
They
pretty
have
much,
none.
that was it, and the fact that you've been giving many options and you've been not denying them on here.
What options have I been given?
The options of the 4 ways that we already in this discussed election and selection before.
I was never given the option. We were never given the
We're the one
opportunity
that
to vote.
moved this forward. It even says.
We were never given the opportunity to vote on those people that you're mentioning. We voted when Jason became a
So-
board member.
Who voted?
Since
The
the,
board.
if we back up a little bit, when 2 other board members resigned, Kathleen wasn't here that night. And so there was no votes on anybody then, and we haven't had a meeting that you could vote, because you can't have a meeting outside of here and vote on anybody, so there was never an opportunity for anybody to bring anybody up and say, we're gonna vote on these people. So we would have had to have that meeting, and now there's no way anybody can be voted or picked until the state picks the 3 people.
So would we bring it up to them that you were put on because you had the next highest?
You
vote?
absolutely
David
can-
Robbins?
you
How does
absolutely-
that go?
Could bring that up to the state, but the state, once they're in control of it, it has to go through this process, it has nothing to do with us, sales. And sales is in control of the process to get the people, and then they give it to the regents, and then nobody has any say here on who gets picked.
Next person? Go ahead, sir.
Yes, in regard to this bunch of questions and to your question, sir, it seems to me there's a lot of interest to discuss about what's happened, but we don't have any choice before us now as to the process. There's going to be 3 people who are selected by the regents, and we have a procedure for, you might say that that's not right. I spent a long time on the web trying to find procedures for selection when the board goes below the number of people required for a quorum. And I might have missed something, but I just couldn't find it. And there's an awful lot of stuff on the web about public libraries and trustees and responsibility of trustees. But in this kind of circumstance, you would hope that things wouldn't be acted upon ad hoc, but that there would be established guidelines that would be followed. Maybe these are the established guidelines and I'm just not finding them on the site. But in any case, that's not something that we can decide here. There's a process, there are going to be 3 people selected. I would imagine that the 2 people you're talking about who got votes before, if they really want to be on the board now, they'll apply and they'll mention that they got a lot of votes and that will be given consideration.
Absolutely.
If you look at, if you go online, there's something about it in the trustee handbook, and that's available to any citizen, anybody can go online and look at it. I can't remember what page it is, I found it, it's very vague, but it does mention that the Board of Regents is the one that takes over and how they decide, but it's vague, but it does mention that they're the ones that control it.
Very good. Mrs. Waterhouse?
So, I apologize if I spoke out of turn before when I yelled, which was the first time in the last many months I've been attending that I spoke. But it was in response to the idea that it was Kathleen Jones not allowing a board member to fill out a quorum to go forward when in fact you had an application, which I was aware of and is very qualified, and you just stated that you would vote no on her, and I'd like to know why you wouldn't think she would be a qualified candidate.
So I personally, I feel uncomfortable if she's not right here. I do feel uncomfortable if she's not
But you
right here.
remember talking about Kathleen about
Just
being
answer
here.
the
You were
question.
I have her words.
comfortable
I have
saying
her
no,
words.
she's not good, so could you say why?
I say, she did it publicly, I'll tell you, because she is on a committee that has behaved inappropriately. That committee has sat in seats, and you guys are all school teachers. You know that bullying is a problem in schools. And yet I've seen grown adults, that group, bully individuals in this room. I've seen you mock people. I've seen you laugh in people's faces. I've seen that behavior, and that is exactly what I said when I was asked about Reed Gardner. I said, I don't think that she has followed the rules, that she has been on a committee that she was selected by the board to be on and done it respectfully. I don't think she's a good candidate to be on the board. I think she has an agenda and that's all that she's here for. That's exactly what I said. I think she's probably a very nice lady. I don't want to communicate that she's not. I think she probably is. I know that you are. But I think that you, in this tunnel of sitting with friends, we behave in a certain way and we don't realize how we're behaving. We don't realize how we're treating other people. And I've seen it consistently.
Do you agree that you do that sometimes too? You do?
No, Mrs. Waterhouse is talking. We're not gonna interrupt. We're having a conversation with the board. Go ahead.
Well.
If you have anything else, don't feel like I'm putting the spotlight on you.
I have tried very hard to behave with grace, and even though I have great disagreement with you perhaps on
Right.
positions you might take or ideas you might have, I would not have bullied, mocked, laughed at you in any way that was disrespectful.
Not
And you're
me.
saying that I did. To anyone in this room, we're community members. I respect that we are all here as community members. There's behavior that I certainly don't agree with. And yet I feel like you're talking to me about my behavior is a little confusing to me.
Okay.
I do want the library to open, and it's more because I care about it for other people. I am blessed to be able to go buy my own books, to go to Saratoga, Crandall, whatever. I have my own internet, I have that, but I know what our community suffers from sometimes, and the kids that need programming and the, internet. And I do hope that everybody can put all those kinds of disagreements aside, respectfully
I completely agree.
open this library.
I completely agree. But I want to mention here, though, you're saying that if I had voted yes for Reed Gardner, then the library would be open. That's a problem.
No,
I am not required,
But
I'm
you
not
said-
required to vote a certain
No,
way. I'm
I'm not
required to
telling
vote
you
in
how
the
to
best
vote.
interest of this library.
And I don't wanna tell you how to vote, I'm sorry, because you're misrepresenting what I said. It was following a statement where you said that Kathleen Jones resigned and, oh God, I can't even go back through I think that if we could have kept this library open by having other trustees, then to be honest and transparent, you would have to say, well, we had an opportunity to have a trustee and I would have voted no, which means it comes back to what is your responsibility in the library being closed? What do you accept as responsibility?
I didn't have an opportunity to vote on her. I just verbally said that I would vote no. I had no opportunity because the president never gave us the opportunity. Kathleen Jones never gave us the opportunity to vote on anyone. There were many candidates for everyone. There were many candidates from all sides that could have been voted on. And we didn't get the opportunity to vote on anyone because she resigned. Anyone else with another question? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, this is my first meeting because I work during these hours.
Welcome.
But I've lived in this town my whole life, and I'm embarrassed that this has come to this. I'm horrified that this is behavior. You start out the meeting saying, you need to stop name calling, we need to stop doing this, and yet the first thing you do is attacking somebody who's resigned. So I don't understand how this is moving us forward. I use the library. I can afford to buy my books, but I can't afford to buy a lot of books. And I'm aware that the elderly use the library, the poor use the library. We are a poor school district. That's why our lunches are free. And yet, all this bickering back and forth has cost everyone access to something that we had always accepted as part of living in town. So I just want to say, for those of us who aren't able to attend board meetings, who do use the library, that this is horrible. This is not adult behavior,
I agree.
and everybody has to take responsibility for their own behavior. And you start out saying, we're not gonna attack, it's been too divisive, and that's exactly what you did in your speech. So I'm a little distraught that we're not gonna move forward at all.
Well, thank you for your comments. What I did in my speech was I pointed to the fact that Kathleen Jones said she did this on purpose. She said that we're in this situation on purpose. That's a
No.
problem. She was the president of this board. She deserves to be held accountable. She deserves to be answerable for her comments. She made public comments that described what she did and why she did it.
It's not.
Next person, go ahead.
So, I have a question, is what the lawyer says made public? Because I know Laura mentioned.
It should not be made public. If,
So is that backroom dealing that she found?
Yes.
It's
If-
in the minutes.
if someone knows about a
The
confidential,
lawyer recommended.
if someone knows what happened at a confidential conversation, it is likely that someone leaked that information.
Right here.
It's in the.
Thank you.
Recommendations from the lawyer.
Thank you.
It's because you guys
No,
spoke
what you
those
said
words that
though
we
was not
information
something
from the
that
lawyer.
was in the minutes.
Right, you did say some stuff that is not from the minutes, but it's from what someone told you. You did share information like that.
So that
In the minutes.
It-
Right here.
It shows that someone has leaked information, yes.
was from the board.
That was a confidential conversation between the board and their attorney, yes.
Nothing was confidential.
Yes. Go ahead, ma'am.
I feel very uncomfortable with Sal's representing us. I think we, the people of Hadley, Stony Creek, Day, Lake Luzerne, should bring it to vote who we want to be our board members. Sal's has a vested interest in this library. I've got the checks and the records to show what they collect, at least about, on the average of $1,000 a month from this library. And I don't think it's fair that the board regents afforded, Sal's to collect all this information. They say they're gonna cross out the names, did I understand that right?
Yes.
And then they are gonna grade it, and then she kept saying, we, well, who? She kept saying we, she said they.
So from what,
I feel very uncomfortable with Sal's.
It's the board of.
Because I've written many letters to them over the past months, and I've come to every meeting here, I never get a response.
so,
I just feel uncomfortable.
And I
think it should be up to the people to vote who they want to put on this board.
and
And Jason did a study, we know how much it would cost, we know how to do it, why don't we do that?
so I understand your concerns, and we would all probably prefer that it went to a vote, but I'm not sure how long, we weren't told how long Sal, or, the Board of Regents will appoint these new trustees for. It may only be to the next election, which would be next year, and at that point, everybody in this area will have a chance to vote and decide who the next trustees will be after that. It's just the way that the state deals with this, and it's really out of our hands, and there's no way we can change that.
So it has to do with this provision, sorry, I got all the work here. This provisional charter that we, the people, have with the New York State Board of Regents, and the Board of Regents has made that decision,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
they're turning it over to Sal's.
Well, no, sales is only the collection. Board of Regents makes the decision.
Right.
Not Sal's.
So Sal's is collection, but they will be ranking the individuals based on who they think is a top candidate and who they think is a lower end candidate. And they will be submitting the top candidates to the Board of Regents.
They violated provision number 7 of this charter that the New York State Board of Regents has with us. The corporation shall not participate in or intervene in any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition of any candidate for public office. And I sat here at one meeting when the coordinator from Sal's blatantly disrupted our board meeting, and they shut it down, and we didn't get to speak that night.
I remember that meeting.
That happened. So we're gonna give it to Sal's.
I remember that meeting.
I would like to call attention to the
Anyone?
questions being submitted online from the people who are not able to be here in person. They are submitting their questions.
We'll call on you when we would like to. There's a lady right here that would like to ask a question. Go ahead, ma'am.
Questions of the community.
Claire, you are not a board member. This is a conversation with the board members, okay?
Sir, that is not
So
true.
lady, young lady right
I
here.
would like to call attention to the community members who do not have the privilege of being here in person. And I would like a chance to read off their messages as we have not.
We will call on
acknowledged
you
them so far.
when it's time to call on you.
You're gonna have
At
to
this
violate
time,
the rule.
we are not calling on you.
This isn't a board.
Claire, you don't get to violate the structure. We are doing this to remain orderly. So we are doing things decently and in order. I don't understand why it is beneficial to do that.
Look how many questions you're gonna have to answer all at once.
Excuse me, go ahead.
I will concede my time to the person
There you go.
online.
The online questions we're collecting to share on the FAQ, so you don't necessarily have to go through the online questions. That's more of a collection tool for us to use to
Right.
fill out the FAQ.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
So that they're not for this meeting. Thank you, Claire. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Who would like to ask a question? Go ahead.
I just have one comment and two comments. One, my first comment, Josh, and I'm sorry to have to say this, but I felt bullied by you for about 75% of your opening remarks.
Oh,
And,
I'm sorry about that.
and,
Sorry you feel that way.
I also would like to say that I think that someone beyond this room and probably our community right now does need to select kind of impartially by taking out names and just going by what their credentials are, to help lead us through this until we can have an election to provide, board meetings designated by the community. I think we're in such an impasse at this point in time that, I think you would be severely chastised if you appointed somebody. I would, if I appointed somebody. It just I don't think it would work, so I think that the Board of Regents is probably as good a person as anybody, because they don't know any of us. They will just do it. And then I think we will be able to have a free and open election, at that point in time. And, I'm sorry that I felt bullied by you for so much of the time too. And I know that you don't want this to turn into an argumentative session, and sometimes the way you speak to us really raises a lot of hackles and makes it hard for us not to engage you in the same way.
Oh, well, okay, so help me out with how you felt bullied or why you felt bullied, please.
You talk down to everyone, you're narcissistic, you gaslight people.
Thank you for your comments. The floor is hers. Thank you.
I felt bullied by your tone of voice.
Hmm.
I felt bullied by much of what you said. I felt like some of it was misrepresented. And so it's those are at least some of the things that caused me to bully.
Well, like I said, I apologize if I made you feel that way.
And I don't say that you wanted to be bullied,
Hmm.
and I felt that way.
So how, can you help me out with what I was misrepresenting?
I think you misrepresented some of the things about Ms. Jones.
I took direct quotes from Mrs. Jones. I took direct quotes from her comments in the newspaper and direct quotes from her comments on Facebook. How was that a misrepresentation? Can you help me out? I'm sorry.
You're at to talk for her while she's not here.
Her comments speak for themselves.
And continue to talk for her as she's not here.
I'm sorry. I don't want to misrepresent anyone. That's why I brought her direct quotes with me. So can you help me out with how I misrepresented her?
You know, I think when she's not, I think if she's here, she can speak for herself. If she's not here, then we all read the paper.
Do public comments speak for a
I
person?
know many of us.
Do public comments speak for a person, you think?
I beg your pardon?
If she makes public comments, do they speak for a person?
I'm sorry, I don't understand your
This is
question.
gaslighting.
She made public comments. If I am being accused of misleading her comments, how is reading, quote, word for word her comments misleading in any way, shape, or form? Go ahead.
Well, I think, Josh, it's because you didn't just read the comments. You gave your interpretation of what those comments meant.
Correct.
And at that point, it could seem to people that people might read the same as the common thing. Someone says, I was quoted out of context. So
Right.
no one's questioning that you read literally an excerpt of what she said, but what she meant by it or how we should interpret it. I mean, I couldn't interpret it, I don't know enough about the situation. People who've been involved and interpreted, some of them would interpret it differently from the way you have. I don't think, again, that it's necessary to go back over that now, because I mean, the public record makes a difference, and people's impressions and their attitudes make a difference as we move ahead. But it's not required that we have a final collective judgment on who was right and who was wrong and who went too far. On where we are to this point, we're going to proceed, and we'll take our values and our principles forward into the decisions that we have under our control, and it seems there will be a vote probably within a year. And, you know, I don't mind sitting through more of the rehashing, but, and I'm sorry that there's so much ill will, and it's had these consequences for the library, but I don't know that we gain much in the public session now by going through the grievances and whatnot.
There's a gentleman in the back with a black hat on that's been patiently with his hand up for a long time.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, you know, I think we're at a position where Sal's has to step into this because of a failure of the board. I mean, there's been a serious failure, and that's why Sal stepped in, and that's why they have to step in. And I'm sorry if this sounds a bit wrong, but I wonder if you own a mirror.
Go ahead.
So you've been talking about what is best for the library. In my opinion, being open is what's best for the library. We've not just lost access to books, we've lost access to computers, printing, numerous things that not just children, but adults in this community need, and they need help with. Claire has to sometimes help elderly people just learn to figure out the technology. So now all of these people are left without this for how long now? So what is best for the library is to be open. We differ on why this library is closed. The real reason this library is closed is because a hostile work environment has been created. We had several people leave this library, both from the board and the people working in here, because they were being harassed since April. And the board didn't do a damn thing to stop it. And the ones that left from the board left because they were scared themselves. I think honestly, that's why they didn't intervene in the stuff that was happening within these walls. I've witnessed members of this community come in this library, scream in the staff's faces, tell them that they're stupid, say homophobic, horrible things. I've heard this with my own ears. I had to intervene at one point and ask a gentleman to step back and cool it because he was overheated and he was being vulgar and homophobic. So we're going to keep having this problem. Nobody's going to want to work here. Nobody's going to want to be on this board. Nobody's going to want to take these positions. And you are good people who have good intentions and they want to bring this all back together. But we're not going to have that opportunity until we address the behavior that is happening within these walls. So I want to know, because we've had moments at this table, policies regarding patron behavior. You refuse to pass anything.
I don't think that's accurate.
Yes, it
You
is.
did at the last meeting.
Patron behavior?
Patron behavior.
Posting it on the website, you denied it.
Posting it on the website? Did I vote it down? Help me out, because you're making an accusation.
Virtue signaling and everything is pointless and blah, and how do you tell what is bad behavior and what is good behavior, and you wanted specific details.
So do you think
Josh,
that it's,
somebody could come into
You
the
wouldn't pass a
library,
policy.
right,
I could sit here and pull my chair right up to you and just stare in your face and not say a word.
wouldn't bother me one bit.
Some people would be intimidated by that.
Wouldn't bother me
Claire
one
might
bit.
be intimidated by that. The staff might be intimidated by that.
I'm not condoning that behavior. I'm
No,
not sure
But
why you're
I'm
implying
saying
that.
that this type of behavior has been occurring
Mhm.
and nobody has been stopping it.
So do you think that if a piece of paper, if a policy comes before us, and just because it comes before us, I should vote for it because it says that it's patron behavior? Or do you think I should read it, and if it's a quality paper, then vote for it? Or I should say, these are the corrections I think that should be made before we vote on that? Do you think that's reasonable? Because that's what I
You weren't being
did.
reasonable because you're just saying, it would be pointless, I'm not gonna do that. That's what you said at the last.
I said that about the book banning statement. I did not say that about the behavioral
There was nothing
paper.
passed at that meeting about patron behavior. So I'm asking,
Because-
moving forward, are we going
Because
to
the
address this
policy was
problem?
insufficient. We have done some things to address the problem.
We did.
There have been many things done to address the problem.
We did ask for corrections, or not corrections, but more specifics in there. And I'm very sure that'll be voted on when we have a board. I can't tell you if it's gonna be or not, because I don't know. We have to have a board first. But we care about having, more security in here. We've talked about having emergency buttons and all that kind of stuff to try to make it a safer place. And that will be a
Does it
priority.
not say anything that this is now a discussion that we have to have though?
It should
We
have
now
been.
have to have panic buttons in our library.
We should have had them a long time before that.
We didn't
Definitely.
need them a year ago.
Maybe, maybe not. Every place needs it now.
So, I don't know if many of you know, this is my husband. I would be extremely interested in being on the board. I think my name would have to be a conflict of interest.
No, not as a board member.
I am a different person than my husband. Many of you say my husband's sexist. That's offensive to me because I do vote as a voter. I don't vote the same way as he does. I have run a PTA. I have run many women's meetings. And just because my last name in association with my husband, I bet most of you would say, no, no way. And yet, you're not including everyone, which you're crying for. You are.
And I think it's.
I don't understand, like, the whole process of this is so crazy to me. Because we can't take it for who each person is. We're grouping together as liberals, conservatives. I think that's what my husband was trying to say.
No.
We're not working together. I'm a homeschooler also. We were at this library 3 times a week. I've had to buy books, used books. My family, yeah, we can afford some of it. Some of it we can't. I paid for their curriculum. It's expensive. Very expensive. You guys don't know this situation. We don't get free lunches from the school. I have to buy my children's food. I pay for everything. Yes, it's a choice, but I would also like and be interested and be qualified for many of the board things. And I think because of my last name, many of you would say, no way.
It's not up to
And I
us.
think Sal's would take my
It's
name
not
off
even up
too.
to us.
Absolutely.
And that bothers me.
Absolutely, me too. So I want you to know here though, that the harassment isn't lopsided. I have a security system in my house that I didn't have 9 months ago. I've had death threats consistently.
And that's not
My
fair.
sons have to jog with pepper spray. I've had the library manager say that I should be removed from the library because I'm a conservative, Republican, Christian. And she said that to the police. I have it in a police report. I have consistently been harassed. And so this harassment thing, it goes all around. It's for everyone. The problems aren't lopsided. They're not just on one side. They're on all sides. The issues are on all sides.
They're gonna burn my house down and kill me too.
Yeah.
I won't be on the board for one meeting.
Absolutely.
This lady's had her hand
I
up
have a
10
question,
times.
Josh.
Sure.
You said that nobody's gonna get paid until after the library's open, correct?
Correct.
All right, why is that?
Because we cannot have a meeting without quorum. And so we can't have a vote on paying the bills.
Okay, my question to you now. All right, say you've got people I know that do outside work for you. Now, come plowing season, if somebody falls out here on the ice, what would you do? Because that person's not getting paid.
I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you, 100%.
Who's gonna be responsible?
Sales.
No.
I completely agree with you.
Sales is taking
It
this
doesn't
library over.
Yeah.
It is a problem.
So
It is a problem.
They are liable.
They,
As far as I'm concerned,
Sales
Yeah, but
is
it's
like,
not-
let me talk.
No, let me talk.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Because I'm not taking your bull crap. No,
That is
I
true.
put it this way, you know? Somebody gets hurt out there, God forbid Claire comes in the morning. You know, I know the place is well taken care of.
You do?
And I know the people that do it.
You do?
I do. All right? So, see, if you come and walked up on the sidewalk and it wasn't done and you fell,
Okay, so if I walked in here at 8 o'clock and they didn't get here till 9 o'clock to remove the salt or put salt down and remove the ice,
correct,
okay, who's liable then?
you tell me.
That's what I'm asking you.
I
They
think
got a
it's liable.
contract, do they have a contract?
Yes, they do.
Thank you, that answers it.
But these people should still be getting paid for what they're doing.
We do have effort into trying to get the essentials paid for, and we are looking into that. And quite frankly, our hands are completely tied. It has nothing to do with us at this point.
I brought that up to sales. I told them that this place needs to be taken care of and
Exactly.
and I asked them to look into see how we could pay those things and keep things safe
Yeah,
here.
because
So it is being addressed,
You know,
but we don't have the answer to it right now. And we can't
For sure.
make the decision on that without the quorum, but it is something that we did ask for clarification or find a way to be able to take care of that stuff.
Because I just don't think it's fair, you know?
We're working on it. We're gonna try to get the lights to stay on, the internet to stay on, those kind of things.
Sir?
Yeah, I have to admit that I don't know any of the folks that are on the board. So I don't have any predetermined judgments on that. But as I observe this, I see two things that I just want to comment on. First of all, from my experience in government and solving problems, a wound will heal a lot better if you don't keep ripping it apart. A lot of folks in the room tonight have been ripping an old wound apart. This town needs a library. Library is part of the fabric of a community, like a school, like a playground, like the Boy Scouts, the Cub Scouts. We need a library. So I would challenge everybody in this damn room tonight to put that behind you. Don't ask again how we got where we are. It's irrelevant now. It's unfortunate, but it's irrelevant. It sounds to me like we're back into a corner to have sales recommend people and then the regents appointed. I want to remind folks, I don't believe any of the existing board members are elected.
Yes, I am.
You are.
I am.
Sales is gonna recommend based upon the applications they get to the regions. They're gonna pick 3 members. What's a quorum?
Great.
3. So if the 3 new members are doing what the community wants and get the support that we should give them, then they will be the majority of the board. And then in a couple of years, we'll have an election, which is when the public can speak about how they like, how the board's performing. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I have a question.
Claire?
Clarification, excuse me. This comes back to her question and the statement that.
Whose question?
Your wife's. I'm sorry. And the statement that no one will be paid until the library opens, I think it is important to clarify the statement that that is not technically correct. It is not until we have a board that meets quorum, which is not the same as when we open. The board will have to be able to meet quorum once the Board of Regents appoints the 3 additional trustees. And not when the library opens, which can only happen after we have either a director or a manager.
No, so you're along the right track, but not completely accurate. So, yes, the quorum has to be met, we have to have a meeting. We do not need a manager or a director to open them. We need volunteers. We do not, please. Guys, it's a lot easier if I don't have your commentary in this meeting. Let's just let things go, let people talk, come on.
Right now, sir, the understanding is that once we have the manager or director, we will be able to open. Any other further considerations would have to be voted on by a board, which again, comes back to the fact that we need a board that meets quorum, which answers her question, which is when will people be paid? And that is not when the library opens. The clarification is once the board meets.
Once the board has a meeting and they vote on it, correct. And we do not need a director or manager to open. We can open with volunteers. We can do that. That is, yes, we can. Yes, we can.
So someone
All right,
else-
would anyone else like to, go ahead, Jean?
Just one more question. Sorry. I know the audit was supposed to start in November, but because there is no full board, is that null and void, or did we contract that before this happened?
The audit should continue forward. It was already voted on and approved, and so will continue forward. Clarification on the audit is just for that year's finances. There's a lot of financial questions that came up, a lot of questions of impropriety, those kind of things. Those things will not be looked into in that audit. We have sought clarification. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
What year, 22?
It would be this year, 2023. Yep. And so we will have to seek a separate audit for those specific things. We will have to identify the specific things we want to be audited, and then we will have to vote and pay for those things to be audited. We've been told that potentially could cost double the cost of the regular audit. So the regular audit was what, 10 grand?
So I think it was about 10 grand. And so this is a regular audit, and the other audit they spoke of was called a forensic audit. I'm no expert in it, it's just what I was told. There's the regular audit for the year stuff, and then if you want specifics, it has to be the, what did I call it? The other audit is just much more in depth, and it is about double the price.
A certified audit is where the accountant is required to go and verify the information that in this case the library would give you. In other words, they go and check to make sure that government received the check. It's a lot more extensive than a regular audit, it's just the library will provide the accountant the information.
Correct, yes. Thank
So
you.
the forensic audit will be, is what the lawyer called it, and it will be, it's gonna be a lot more money to do that, and it needs a vote.
Go ahead, you can finish up here.
So with that being said, and understanding that you can't pay bills or anything, the last board minute, we discussed putting it on credit card, what, is that all null and void as well? So we are racking up late fees, or it's all set?
There's no credit card anymore.
Okay,
Um,
automatic pay, sorry.
So, but there is automatic pay on certain things. I don't recall everything it was, but I think it was like the lights, and I know we're looking into seeing if the heat could be on that too, but there's several things that keep it open, including I believe pay. So there's a few things that are on automatic pay. I don't know what everything is, but those things that would keep the lights on and.
We're not having any late charges as we had in the past.
There may be on some things.
There are things that will go unpaid.
Yeah.
There are things that will go unpaid. The essentials are the only things that were voted on, and we don't have complete clarity on what those essentials were. We know it's the lights, we know it's the absolute essentials, but the snow removal, those kind of things, we need to get clarity on, absolutely.
It's not heating.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think,
And we're wrapping up questions here, go ahead, Pete.
I think, we're overlooking a lot of the, monetary difficulties that this library has had, including a $500 late payment for a tax, to a tax, paying an individual $1,700 to come to the library to read bawdy stories for 2 hours. $1,700. But I have a copy of his bill, and it only came to $1,500. Okay? I have a copy of the check that he cashed, and it was for $1,700. Where did the $200 go?
And those are a lot of the questions that have led to a lot of the financial mess that we're looking at. And we've had conversations about CDs, all that kind of stuff.
Missing
And it's been
CDs.
extremely problematic the entirety of the past 8 months.
Taxpayers' money,
Absolutely.
all right?
Absolutely. I'm completely with it. Go ahead. And like I said, we're wrapping up, so maybe we'll take like 2-3 more questions. Go ahead.
You get paid?
I do not get paid.
No, you get paid from a job?
I get paid from a job.
You do your job well?
I'd like to think I do.
Do we do our job well?
I'm not sure where you're going with this. It's out of my control. If I could pay you, I would pay you. We can't pay you.
Do you work for free?
So if you would like to breach your contract and not work, I understand. I do.
You're breaching
I
contract by
am-
not paying him.
Right.
It's out of my control. I don't have the ability to pay
Did
you.
you once contact me and say, hey, this is what's going on, we can't pay you right now?
I'm not the
No,
president.
you're not.
I don't have the ability to do that. Kathleen Jones would have had to do that.
She was not a formal
She was the
president.
president.
She wasn't sworn in.
The moment a president resigns, a vice president assumes that role. That is,
Just so
that's
everybody knows,
the basic
I'm the
structure of things.
property here, all right, he hasn't paid for November. I put out $225 of my own money for the salt and bucket and scoop that sits on the front porch of this place. I haven't seen a dime, I haven't seen a phone call, nothing. I think I deserve at least that.
I think so too.
Call Sal's.
I think so too.
You shut your mouth.
Hey, no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. No,
You gotta do this.
you're finished because of that. You're finished because of that. You're not gonna, you're done talking. We're not gonna attack people like that. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We will wrap the meeting up completely right now. You are not doing that. That is not gonna happen here. Absolutely not. You may be seated. You're not commenting anymore because that behavior is not gonna be excused. Absolutely not. Is there anyone else who would like to share a final question before we are done?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Everyone have a great night.
Yeah, we want your presentation.